Hello everyone, this is Elena and I'm here to do the February Child Tarot reading for the parents of the Virgo child. This is for the parents of the Virgo child. For those of you who've been here before, welcome and thank you so much for supporting my channel. I greatly appreciate it. And for any of you here for the first time, welcome. And if you do like my channel or this content, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, especially subscribing. That helps my channel so much and I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, so this is how this works. I pull 3 cards for from your child's perspective. The first card is what your child is experiencing or what Virgo is experiencing during the month of February. And then we go into a potential challenge and we'll finish with what your child needs most from you during the month of February. And then we'll top off the reading with one advice card for you, the parent. And sometimes it's in relationship to the child perspective and other times it's not. Other times it's just a card, a separate message for you. Okay, so let's see what the messages are. All right, so for Virgo child, during the month of February, yeah, so you have a little one here contemplating a bit. And you're going to notice a little bit of a dreamer sensibility, if you will. And not in a dreamer, not in an escapism type of way, but more in a, ooh, what else is out there, right? Like really feeling the need to explore the world. And in fact, in terms of the child perspective, when we get the 2 of Wands, you're going to notice it's a time frame when your child is asking you a lot of questions. Like, Mom, where do penguins come from? Or where is Africa on the map? Or like random things that they wouldn't normally ask you. This is about the time frame that they really start becoming more curious than usual. Now, obviously, Virgos are already very, very curious in general, and not just curious, but very detailed and specific about the things they're curious about. So here in February, you're going to have a lot of curiosity about things that are not the norm in your household. So perhaps things regarding different cultures, different races, different parts of the world, languages that perhaps are not used or ways of communicating that you are not used to communicating in the home. Basically, anything that is not you, that's not the usual dinner, at conversation at the dinner table. Don't be surprised if your little Virgo starts popping up with things that you've never heard come out of his or her mouth before. It's just going to be a thing. But in addition to that, though, you may also notice that your little one's just spending a lot of time on their own. And that's because they're dreaming up. See how this little monster is really gazing out, right? Gazing out who knows where, just really looking out there and wondering what else exists in this world, right? But he is firmly planted where he is. So he's not going anywhere, right? So your little one is not necessarily interested in doing these things just yet. However, definitely the curiosity is going to start popping up. There's going to be some new topic that your little one is suddenly interested in, and you're going to find it, you yourself are going to find it very interesting because it's not common in your household. Okay, so let's see what a potential challenge is here in February. Okay, yeah, so change, transition, transformation. So perhaps the reason your little one, this is the death card, by the way, and perhaps the reason your little one is wondering and more curious than ever is because now there's some major family changes happening in your household that have never been a topic of conversation before, that all of a sudden have now become very real. And you notice this beautiful star here. There's a star right there in the transformation card that's also right there. So there is something about this huge transformation that has taken place. in your household that's got your little one questioning things that he or she has never before questioned. But see, also what this can be is that these new things that he or she is discovering, and perhaps these new things, they may come from media, they may come from their peers, classmates, or maybe they read a book, or all of a sudden they're interested in something or realizing something exists. Perhaps whatever they've learned did the flip. So for a handful of you, it's going to be this first, then that, meaning first a huge change is happening in your house with huge transformation. This could be a loss of a job for a parent. This could be a move of a home. It could be, in some cases, a literal loss of someone in the family, right? But whatever this huge transformation is, it's making your little one wonder all of a sudden, oh, this is a possibility. I never knew these things existed. Or a change to a new neighborhood could possibly have your little one exploring or dreaming up the what ifs. Now, on the flip, though, it can be that this new exploration of thought and whatever it is they're learning is suddenly making them fearful of change. Or suddenly, whatever they're learning is exposing them to the realities that not everything is permanent, right? The things change, things are fluid. Life can be different from one day to the next. And perhaps there's a little bit of fear, right? And Virgos are very deep, when they come to things like that. Like they're very specific, like I said earlier. So when a little Virgo reads something, they're not just glossing through and being entertained by a book or by a show that they're watching. Like Virgos really pay attention to the detail, and Virgos pay attention to the things that are not being said also. It's very similar to the Scorpio energy. And so what happens is you may be watching a National Geographic show, of like how pandas meet or how penguins mate or whatever. And you're just enjoying it as a parent with your family, right? Meanwhile, the Virgo is deeply contemplating, well, are the penguins cold? How do they make it in the snow? How do they make it in that cold, frigid water? Like all of a sudden they're going deeper, right? Because they really are detailed, specific. So if it wasn't answered somewhere, if it wasn't answered in the book, if it wasn't answered in the show, if their question wasn't answered, they will go deep into the exploration of what that is and their own thoughts. And they will begin to ask questions about that. I hope that makes sense. I mean, for those of you who have a Virgo child, you know what I'm talking about because, or if you yourself are a Virgo, you understand your child very well because it's a thing, right? That not many people understand. And so anyhow, I hope this makes sense how these two can affect each other during the month of February. I'm very curious to see how this is playing out for you. So if you have this going on, if you don't mind leaving a comment, I'm so interested in knowing what this is about. Okay, now this card is very important because this position tells us what your child needs most from you, the parent, during the month of February. Okay, so the Eight of Pentacles, yes. So this is beautiful because what this is saying is if you find that your child is getting too heady, if it's positive and beautiful dreaming up, awesome. But if you find that this headiness or whatever your child is exploring or whatever your child is curious about, if you find that it's causing some kind of anxiety in your little Virgo, then figuring out a way to keep him positively busy can be beneficial for your child this month, because the Eight of Pentacles is about working hard, or not working hard, but working diligently and with discipline and with consistency. So you may either, and this is going to play out a couple of different ways. The first way is just keeping your child a little busy, not to the point obviously of exhaustion, but just enough where this anxiety can maybe dissipate a bit. Another way that this can play out is something that they're really curious about, that they may have become interested in, perhaps helping them see that that change is possible and it doesn't have to be anxiety based by moving them into the action of working on that new curiosity. So for example, if they're wondering how snails move, and again, please be patient with me. I'm just throwing out examples. You're going to know exactly what it is for your household. But let's just say you have a child who wants to know how snails do whatever. Then maybe actually getting out there with him or her to explore and work on, well, let's look at these snails. Let's watch them. Let's observe them and see what they do. Let's do some actual work on observing how these creatures live life, right? So actually facilitating their curiosity through diligent work, because that's what the Eight of Pentacles is. The Eight of Pentacles is focusing on something, and from beginning to end. And so this is beautiful. There's going to be a lot of questioning, but there may be, just for a little caution here for you parents, there may be a little bit of anxiety behind it. So just, it's nice to have these readings because you can have a bit of a heads up as the parent, right? And that's why I love doing these readings, because I find them could potentially be helpful. Okay, let's see what, okay. That's your advice card. That came out super fast. Very nice. Yeah, the Hierophant. So this is interesting. And this could be in relationship to the Death card here. So let me look at this for a bit. So the Hierophant is normally an authority figure, and many times it's a spiritual, obviously, like in this case, very spiritual archetype, right? And it can represent, in this case, it can represent the afterlife, right? So I feel like some of your children, some Virgos are starting to question death, literally. Like, what is it? What happens to us? Is there a spiritual meaning there? Or perhaps you have a child that's asking questions that are very borderline spiritual. And I'm not talking religion when I say, and I mean, it can be for some of you, but that's not what I'm focused on. I'm focused more of a, what happens after we die, mom? Or what happened to grandpa? What's happening to the neighbor that just passed away? Where does he go now? And this curiosity of what else is out there? Do we end up out there in the sky after we leave this planet? Like those type of questions are going to come up. So I feel like as an advice card, this came up for you as advice. This is almost like telling me, heads up, parents, you may get some heavy loaded questions here. So be prepared to answer honestly in terms of how you know it to be. In other words, if you don't have the answer, it's okay to tell your child, honey, I don't know. I don't know how, penguins make it in the frigid, cold climate. I don't know what happens to us after we die. Or it can be the other way around. Well, I think it may be blah, 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 but I don't know, because the Hierophant is all knowing, right? But when it comes as either warning or advice, it can also be forewarning not to have all the answers, that it's okay not to have the keys to all the spiritual answers, right? See how he's holding the key and the fire representing raw energy and spirituality? And so you may feel the burden sometimes as a parent of needing to have all the answers, and Spirit is saying it's okay if you don't. And also another thing here, Hierophant can also many times represent someone of a different authority or expertise level that can help you. So even though this looks very spiritual in nature, it can also indicate if you've been thinking about reaching out to a therapist or a counselor or some kind of support system to help you through whatever this is, because for some of you, it does have to do with some major life changes here, like literal life or death changes. And so some of you may be wanting to explore finding an expert to help you. So this is also an indication. This is also a confirmation that yes, that's a great, um, it's confirmation that yes, that would be a good move. And at the same time, it's confirmation of you don't have to have all the answers. It's okay to be honest about not having all the answers as well. Okay. I hope this helped someone. I hope it made sense. If there was ever anything you need clarification on, go ahead and leave a comment and I'll respond as soon as I can. And so if you enjoyed this, please subscribe, like, comment, and I hope to see you back here in March. Thank you. Bye.